Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about the Flash movie. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent, and today we're going to talk about the Flash movie. Yes, the Flash movie. So this is the movie that's had many ups and downs, mainly with their star, Ezra Miller, who has gone through some troubles in the last year. For a while, it looked like maybe they were going to fire them, or maybe they were going to, delay the movie indefinitely, or maybe just shove it on HBO Max at the time. But here we are, 2023 in June, and the movie The Flash finally did come out. So I'm going to put all of Ezra's troubles aside. That's a different video, a different conversation, and a different thing. If you don't want to watch the movie because of what they did, fine, absolutely understand. However, I did want to watch the movie. People go through stuff, they repent, or maybe they don't. And the studio decides to put the film out anyway. And that's the world we live in. So I went and watched the movie, mainly for Michael Keaton Batman, hence the Batman shirt. And we're going to talk about the movie, and we're not going to talk about Ezra's issues, okay? So, different movie. But, that is to say, I thought this movie was good. Not damn good, not great, not the best comic book movie of all time, but I thought it was good, pretty good. I'm kind of on the same level here as I was Black Adam. Black Adam, I went in with low expectations and came out, entertained. And this movie, I also thought was entertaining. This movie has a lot going for it as opposed to Black Adam. Like, Black Adam really had to work hard, and I think Black Adam worked for me, and I talked about this in that review, that the JSA is what made Black Adam work for me. Here, it's a combination of Michael Keaton Batman and Ezra Miller's performance as the Flash. So I'm going to hand it to all of them that they made that movie work. So where does it begin? It's got a lot of nostalgia in here, but it is a Flash movie. Except it's not a Flash movie because it doesn't really feature any Flash villains, any characters. It's all very set-up-y. Iris Allen actually has words in this film. She's not just being rescued by the Flash in the director's cut. So that's a plus for that actress. Although it did look like her scenes were shot, 4 years apart, because her ending scene, she looked much older. And there's a lot more makeup on that scene as there were in the beginning scenes. Ezra's doing a pretty good job being the Flash, being the character that he and Zack Snyder designed or decided on way back in the day. I'm not a fan of that version of Barry, obviously. I think the CW show is much more Barry-ish, although I'm not a Barry purist by any means. I grew up in Wally was the Flash, and Barry only came back because Jeff Johns decided to bring him back, and that's kind of who we're stuck with now. Same thing as Hal Jordan, although I read the Hal Jordan comics, and I was like, Hal Jordan's kind of cool with what Jeff Johns did, but he wasn't able to do that for Barry, I think. I think Barry just kind of grew on me because of the TV show, not necessarily because he had better stories at the time. But anyway, Ezra's doing his Ezra Barry shtick, and it is entertaining. I am laughing. I am having a good time. When he's interacting with his double self, when Barry goes back in time, you've seen it in the trailers, that's entertaining. His double self is entertaining. The moment that he realizes that his actual personality is annoying as himself is pretty fun. And I was like, wow, maybe don't act like that in real life, dude, and you won't get punched in the face. Anyway, that's a different video. But I had fun. I had a lot of fun. It's just like I was entertained. The Batman stuff is really enjoyable. If you love 89 Batman or Batman in general, you need to watch this film, I think. I think it's worth going to pay the money to watch. Even if you don't like Ezra Miller or you don't like The Flash, I think this movie is worth watching for Michael Keaton Batman. His introduction here with the two Barrys in Wayne Manor, super fun scene. All the stuff with him in the Batcave is awesome. His 2 scenes he gets fighting are awesome. Couldn't ask for more. The way the Batwing moved, it's got like this, the capsule in it is like gyroscopically stabilized, so the Batwing basically rotates around that capsule. I thought that was a very cool idea. I really like that. There are lots of cool things in this movie, and I really thought that Andy Muschietti, who did It Part 1 and Part 2, I really thought he did a pretty good job. I like the way that the Flash is portrayed in terms of like Speed Force and things like that. I really like that. And it was very interesting to see, like, because we all watched the Flash run in Justice League in both versions, and we were all kind of like, why is he doing this weird finger stuff or this weird posing and all that stuff? And this stuff gives that context in a way that I wasn't expecting. It's kind of like the posing is what Barry's focusing his speed when he does that, and that's his like runner start, and gives him that burst of speed that enables him to travel really fast. And we saw like another version of that later on in the movie where he doesn't do that. He just starts walking and starts running, and it takes him much longer to get into that Flash speed mode. So I kind of enjoyed that. It gave this funky run they gave him in the other movie, it gave it a reason to exist. And then when you see him trying to do it in the police station later in the film, in the middle of the movie, it made sense that he's trying to go fast, and that's why he's running that way, not because he, like it's a choice of Barry's that, of choice of Ezra's and I guess Zack Snyder's that carries over from that film to this one, that they then gave context in the movie, and to me now makes sense. Like, I'm no longer looking at it, I'm still looking at it and saying it's weird, but I'm no longer looking at it like, I really don't like that. It's like, okay, I get what you're doing here. It's a technique, it's something that he learned through time or something like that. That's cool. The Flash suit, honestly, I love this Flash suit. I think it's super cool. My only gripe is that I want the lightning bolts to come around a little bit more in the front. Like, they just end on his hips on the sides, and I just want them to come around just a little bit more, just to give it more pop, like when you see a full-size Barry Allen, just to give it that differentiation of like, here's my waist, here's my legs, that kind of thing. But I really love the suit. The way that the suit comes out of the ring, there's a couple scenes like that. That's really enjoyable. It's a whole lot of fun, honestly, the whole lot of fun. And they are marketing the shit out of this movie with Supergirl, Sasha Calle, with Tim Burton Batman, Michael Keaton Batman. And they're in the film, but they're in the film a little bit less than you would expect. I mean, they're really only in like the action scenes and the scenes in the middle, and they're using those to market the film to really save what the film's about. Like, looking at the trailer and looking at the Flashpoint book, I thought this film was going to be a lot less Flashpoint and a lot more like nostalgia. This film was a lot more Flashpoint than I thought, specifically with one scene in the Batcave. So that was an interesting thing to watch. Having the two Barrys interact with each other was interesting and fun. I really thought the ending, though, is kind of where it might lose a lot of people. So without spoiling anything, the ending is really inside baseball. Die-hard movie trivia buffs are going to have a great time with it. Die-hard comic book fans are going to have a good time with it. But I feel like regular audiences, if you're not dialed into comic book movie lore or history of what actor might have played whom in some movie at some point in time, or if you haven't seen a whole bunch of these older films or heard of possibilities, you might not clue into some of this stuff. And they use VFX to that extent. Anytime Barry's in the Speed Force, everything is really CGI and rubberized. And anytime he's moving slow, it's also the same thing. Like, they're not, like Quicksilver in Days of Future Past, if you remember that film, that CG was phenomenal. Today, I don't know if it stood up, but at the time it was like 100%. You believe that he was moving faster than everything else, and they used the laws of physics to give it that kind of sheen. There was some stuff that maybe looked a little CGI in that film, but I don't remember too much being like, wow, that looks really weird. Here, everything when Barry's moving super fast does look weird. I think, and Andy Muschietti said it was for a reason. It was through Barry's eyes, through the lenses, like he's got the little lenses over his eyes. That's interesting. So it's got all this golden sheen and everything kind of looks really rubbery. So maybe, yeah, if you were moving at super speed, stuff might look a little bit weirder to you, but they lean into it, but they never really explain it. You know what I mean? So I think that may cause some audiences to come out of this and be like, this film was unfinished or looks funny, that kind of thing. If it was an effect and they're saying it is, again, who knows, but at least it's consistent, is what I would say. At least it's consistent. Speaking of VFX, there were some times when you had two Barrys that looked a little awkward. Like, it looks like there were some shots where they were trying to de-age Ezra Miller as past Barry, and they didn't do it in other times, so that was a little funky. Like, just either do it or don't and stick with it. I would have preferred if they just didn't. Honestly, I think the haircut just worked. 10 years, you can shave 10 years off a person pretty easily. If everybody knows what they look like 10 years ago, I guess, like, that's not a big deal. It's when you go more than that you get all this funky stuff. So they were like hemming and hawing, I think, on that. So that stuff I recognized. There's a lot of blue screen or green screen towards the end that was like, oh, this was reshot. Okay, this feels weird. And the comping or whatever wasn't as great there as it maybe could have been. So that stuck out like a sore thumb. But yeah, I think the ending, basically like the last 20 minutes of the movie, I think because it's a lot of CG and stuff, and it's in that version of Barry's Speed Force that, things are happening, and then you have these cameos, which aren't really cameos because it's a lot of weird CG looking stuff. I think that might have turned a lot of people off from this movie. But going in knowing that there was some funky stuff and that it was supposed to be a look, like, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. There was one thing I really enjoyed, and I think you'll understand if you see a spider in there. Really enjoyed that. That stood out to me as like a laugh out loud moment. And I don't think I knew one of the things, and one of my main complaints with frickin' Twitter, or what, I don't know, they showed this movie to a lot of people ahead of time. I tried to get into one of those screenings. It didn't end up happening. I stayed home with the kids instead. And man, there are a lot of spoilers on the internet. Like, this movie opened on a Thursday, and there were spoilers of the film's ending that I was scrolling by Twitter trying to be like, oh, I don't want to see that, on Wednesday. And that was like, so I think one of the cameos was spoiled for me there. But a lot, I think, was, there were a lot of surprises, a lot of main plot points and stuff that didn't get spoiled for me. So, I'm trying to do this as spoiler-free as possible because I have a couple friends who are probably going to wait to see it. So there you have it. But I thought it was fun. If the CGI is a look, it goes for it. At least it's consistent. And I had a lot of fun. The opening scene with Bruce Wayne, Batman, Ben Affleck, that's fun. Like, the Batman part is cool. Kind of seeing him getting knocked around a little bit. But I really did enjoy like the comicalness of Barry saving a bunch of children from this hospital. I enjoyed that. A lot of people may find it cheesy, but you gotta have these cheesy moments. Like, he's moving at the speed of light or whatever. He's going to find humor in things, and I enjoyed that lighter sense of it. It wasn't just so dark and dour and oh, my parents are dead. Like, this was a Barry who could find the humor in things, and and that was fun. I really enjoyed that part. The ending, enjoyed that. That was unspoiled for me. That was phenomenal. Just the ending little punch up there. So yeah, I like Supergirl. I like Michael Keaton. Literally, there's nobody in this movie that I was like, they were bad. Even Michael Shannon's doing an okay job doing the same thing he did 10 or 15 years ago in Man of Steel. So I don't know. It wasn't great. It wasn't phenomenal. But overall, I can't really think of any complaints. So that's what we'll go with. I got no complaints. I saw The Flash. I got no complaints. I had fun. I got my money's worth. And I think you will too if you just go in there knowing you're going to have a good time. So thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.